We look to nature for gifts, for strength. The blueberry, a small dark jewel, is one such gift. But what happens when a pure gift is combined with something that creates a conflict within? The answer can steal your clarity. You must watch until the end, because the third combination reveals a truth about the body that most of us have forgotten. Cold dampness. When we seek to understand our body, we must first look at the energies we introduce into it. It is not simply about what we call food, but about the quality, the nature, the temperature of what we consume. Consider the blueberry. In its essence, it is cleansing, it is light, and it carries a certain cooling property. It is like a clear, cool spring water that gently washes through you, offering its vitality without asking for much in return. It does not burden the system. It is a form of giving. Now let us consider what happens when we combine this pure, gentle gift with something that carries a very different energy, such as a large amount of cold dairy. Think of milk or ice cream or a very cold yogurt. In many traditions of understanding the body, these are seen as creating what is called dampness and cold. They are heavy, they are dense, they require a significant amount of what we might call our inner fire or digestive strength just to be processed. Imagine a small, warm fire burning in your hearth. This fire represents your body's ability to transform food into energy and warmth. If you place a small, dry piece of wood on it, the fire burns brighter. This is like a food that is in harmony with your system. But if you were to pour a bucket of cold, thick mud onto this fire, what happens? The fire sputters. It struggles. It produces smoke, not heat. This is the conflict. This is the internal struggle we create when we combine the light, cleansing nature of the blueberry with the heavy, cold, damp-producing nature of certain foods. For a body that is young and possesses an incredibly strong digestive fire, this combination might be tolerated. The fire is so strong it can burn through the mud, although perhaps with some effort. But as we age, as we gather more wisdom and our journey becomes longer, this inner fire naturally becomes more preserved. It becomes more gentle. It is no longer a raging bonfire, but a steady, precious flame that we must tend to with care. To throw cold dampness onto this flame is to show a great lack of respect for the energy we have. The body must work so hard to separate the two conflicting signals. It receives the light, cleansing message of the blueberry and at the same time the heavy, congesting message of the cold dairy. The result is often not immediate sickness in the way we typically think of it. It is more subtle. It is a feeling of bloating, of heaviness, a feeling of internal fog, a certain lack of clarity that begins in the gut and can travel all the way to the mind. The body is confused. It is trying to do two opposite things at once. It is like trying to walk north and south at the same time. You simply create stagnation. You create a traffic jam within your own system. The precious nutrients and message of the blueberry can become trapped in this mud, unable to be properly absorbed and utilized. It is not that either of these things is bad on its own. A cold glass of milk on a hot day might feel right. A handful of blueberries in the morning can feel cleansing. But wisdom lies in understanding the combination. The art is not in the ingredients, but in the recipe, in the way they are brought together. For the senior body, a body that thrives on clarity, warmth, and ease of digestion, this combination is a path to disharmony. It is an unnecessary burden we ask our system to carry. By understanding this, we are not creating a restriction, but an opening. We are opening a path to greater ease, greater clarity, and a more profound respect for the gentle flame that burns within us. It is the first step in listening not to rules, but to the deep wisdom of our own physical form. This internal environment we cultivate is everything. Think of a garden. If you have good soil, clean water, and adequate sunlight, the plants will be vibrant and strong. If the soil becomes waterlogged and cold, the plants will become weak, their roots may begin to rot, and they become susceptible to disease. Our digestive system, our inner garden, is no different. The introduction of this cold, dampening combination is like creating a perpetual swamp where a vibrant garden should be. This swampy condition is what is meant by dampness. It's a stickiness, a slowness, a type of turbidity that prevents the free flow of energy and nutrients throughout the body. When things cannot flow freely, they become stagnant. And where there is stagnation, there is the potential for problems to arise. For the elderly, whose systems naturally seek to conserve energy and operate with maximum efficiency, this stagnation is a significant impediment. It goes beyond the physical feeling of bloating. This internal dampness can manifest as a feeling of lethargy, a heaviness in the limbs, as if you are walking through water. The mind can feel cloudy, slow to process thoughts, lacking the sharp clarity we all cherish. It is because the body and mind are not separate. The state of our gut, our inner earth, directly influences the state of our sky, our mind. When the earth is bogged down and heavy, the sky cannot be clear and open. So the question we must ask ourselves is not just what am I eating, but what inner environment am I creating with my choices? This choice of combining blueberries with cold dairy is a perfect example of creating a contradictory environment. You are asking for the lightness of the berry and the heaviness of the milk at the same time. The body, in its immense wisdom, does its best to cope, but the effort required is a drain on our vital energy. It is like asking a master calligrapher to write a beautiful poem on a piece of paper that is already soaked in water. The ink will bleed, the lines will be indistinct, and the message will be lost. The beautiful message of the blueberry is lost in the dampness created by the combination. This is why simplicity and harmony are such powerful allies on our journey, especially as we gather more years. The goal is to make the body's work as easy as possible so that its energy can be used for higher purposes, for healing, for clear thinking, for feeling joy, for being present in the world. Instead of creating complex problems for our digestion to solve, we can offer it simple, harmonious combinations that it can process with ease. By choosing to separate these conflicting energies, by enjoying the blueberries on their own or with other light foods, and enjoying dairy, if you choose, at a different time and perhaps not ice cold, you are not depriving yourself. You are gifting yourself the profound experience of internal harmony. You are tending to your inner garden with wisdom and care, ensuring it remains a place of vitality and not a cold, stagnant swamp. This is the respect our bodies deserve. Sweet deception. Now let us explore a different kind of conflict, one that is perhaps more common in our modern world. It is the conflict between true vitality and the illusion of energy. The blueberry, once again, is our example of pure, natural vitality. Its sweetness is gentle, complex, and tied to fiber and nutrients. It is a slow-release form of energy, a calm and steady offering from nature. It is like the light from a candle, consistent and enduring, providing warmth and clarity for a long period. It nourishes the system without shocking it. It communicates a message of sustained wellness. It does not demand, it gives. This is the nature of true energy. Now let us place this next to the second food, or rather category of food to avoid, and that is highly processed refined sugar. This is the breakfast cereal with the real fruit, which is mostly sugar, the blueberry flavored muffin, which is more sugar than fruit, or simply adding spoonfuls of white sugar onto a bowl of healthy berries. Here, the conflict is not of temperature or dampness, but of quality and intention. The refined sugar offers what can be described as a false energy. It is not the steady flame of a candle, but the brilliant, violent flash of gunpowder. There is a huge burst of light and noise, a sudden surge, and then nothing. Darkness, emptiness, and a craving for another flash. This is the deception. It mimics energy, but it is not true vitality. It is a form of chaos introduced into the system. When we combine the pure, steady gift of the blueberry with this chaotic flash of refined sugar, we are creating a profound disrespect for the gift. It is like trying to have a deep, quiet conversation with a wise elder while someone is shouting meaningless words through a megaphone right next to your ear. The wise voice is drowned out. The gentle, nourishing message of the blueberry is completely overwhelmed by the loud, aggressive, and ultimately empty message of the sugar. The body, receiving this combination, is thrown into a state of confusion. It tastes the sweetness and releases a powerful hormonal response to manage the sudden, unnatural flood of sugar into the bloodstream. This is a state of emergency for the body. It must work frantically to shuttle this sugar out of the blood, often storing it away as fat. All its resources are focused on managing this crisis. And in the midst of this chaos, what happens to the subtle vitamins, the antioxidants, the gentle message of the blueberry? They are caught in the crossfire. Their benefits are largely lost because the body is too busy dealing with the emergency you have created. It is a tragic waste. You take a food meant for healing and clarity, and you chain it to a substance that creates imbalance and fogginess. The initial pleasure of the intense sweetness is a deception. It is a short-term loan with a very high interest rate, paid for with our own vitality. For the aging body, a body that thrives on stability and rhythm, this roller coaster of sugar spikes and crashes is particularly taxing. It strains our hormonal systems, it contributes to inflammation, and it disrupts the calm, steady energy we need for a clear mind and a healthy body. We begin to crave the next hit, becoming dependent on the false energy rather than cultivating true, sustainable vitality. The blueberries themselves have all the sweetness we need. Nature has already perfected the recipe. To add refined sugar is to believe we know better than nature. It is a form of arrogance, born from a palate that has been conditioned to expect extreme, unnatural levels of stimulation. So the invitation here is to recalibrate, to eat a blueberry and truly taste it. Taste its subtle sweetness, its hint of tartness, its deep and gentle flavor. When we do this, we are not just eating, we are communicating with nature. We are receiving its gift in its purest form. By avoiding the combination with the sweet deception of processed sugar, we allow the true voice of the blueberry to be heard by our bodies and its true healing work to begin. We choose the steady candle over the fleeting flash, and in doing so, we choose the path of authentic, lasting energy. This act of choosing the real over the artificial extends far beyond our plate. It's a practice, a way of being. When we consciously choose the natural sweetness of the fruit over the engineered sweetness of a product, we are training our minds and bodies to appreciate authenticity. This is a skill that becomes more and more valuable as we age. The world presents us with countless deceptions, countless shortcuts, and illusions of happiness, success, or health. The loud, flashy promises of the modern world are very much like that rush of refined sugar. They are enticing, they offer an immediate thrill, but they often leave us feeling more empty and depleted than before. Cultivating the ability to find joy in the simple, the real, and the authentic is a source of profound and lasting peace. It is the difference between fleeting pleasure and deep contentment. When we overload our system with this intense fake sweetness, we dull our senses. Our taste buds become desensitized. We lose the ability to perceive the subtle, complex, and beautiful flavors that nature provides. A fresh carrot no longer tastes sweet. A simple apple seems bland. We begin to need more and more intense stimuli to even register an experience. This is a great loss. It is a closing off from the world. In the same way, if we constantly seek out high-intensity, dramatic experiences in life, we can lose our ability to find joy in a quiet morning, in a gentle conversation, in the simple act of breathing. Our inner palate becomes dulled. The practice of avoiding this specific food combination, the true and the false, is therefore a meditation. It is an act of reclaiming our sensitivity. It is a statement that we choose to be fully present and awake to the real gifts of the world, not the manufactured ones. For a senior, for anyone who seeks wisdom, this sensitivity is a treasure. It is what allows us to listen deeply to others, to nature, and most importantly, to ourselves. When our internal systems are not in a state of chaos from a sugar spike and crash, our mind is more calm. Our emotional state is more stable. We have more access to our own inner stillness, our own center. From this place of calm, we can make better decisions. We are less reactive, less driven by impulse and craving. We can see things more clearly. The simple dietary choice to honor the integrity of a natural food like the blueberry becomes a powerful tool for cultivating this inner stillness. It proves that the path to spiritual clarity and the path to physical wellness are not separate paths. They are one and the same, walked with each mindful choice we make, each bite we take. By rejecting the sweet deception, we affirm our commitment to truth, both on our plate and in our lives. Earthly burden. Finally, we arrive at the third combination, and this one perhaps requires the most subtle understanding. It is about timing, about pace, and about the digestive story our body has to tell. Let us return to the blueberry. It is, as we've said, light. It is simple. From a digestive perspective, it is a whisper. It passes through the system with grace and ease, delivering its message quickly and efficiently. It asks for very little work. The body does not need to gear up for a monumental effort. It is like a swift and silent messenger who arrives, delivers a positive note, and departs without causing any disturbance. This is its nature. Now, let us consider combining this swift messenger with our third category, very heavy, dense, and fatty foods, particularly certain types of meat. Think of a large, rich steak or a heavy, fatty piece of pork. These foods, from a digestive perspective, are the opposite of a whisper. They are a long, epic tale that requires hours and hours of focused work from the body to process. They are an earthly burden. They require a massive amount of digestive fire, of enzymes, of acids, of sheer energy to be broken down into usable components. When we eat such a food, the body understands the task ahead. It pulls energy from other parts of the system and focuses it all in the stomach and intestines. Tea is preparing for a long siege. Now, what happens when we introduce the light, delicate, swift messenger, the blueberry, into this same environment? The swift messenger arrives in the stomach along with the long, epic tale. But the stomach is not ready for the swift messenger. It cannot just let it pass through, because the gates are closed. The entire system is locked down to deal with the primary challenge, the earthly burden of the heavy food. So the blueberry, which is meant to pass through quickly, is forced to wait. It sits in the warm, acidic environment of the stomach for hours, held up behind the heavy, slow-to-digest food. And what happens to a delicate fruit when it is held in a warm, stagnant environment for a long time? It begins to ferment. It begins to break down in a way it was not intended to. Instead of delivering its clean, vital message, it starts to create gas, bloating, and a sense of acidic discomfort. The gift becomes a problem. The swift messenger becomes a restless prisoner, causing trouble while waiting for the long story to end. This is not the fault of the blueberry, and it is not necessarily the fault of the heavy food. It is the fault of the combination, of the complete misunderstanding of pace and timing. It is like asking a track sprinter to run a race in a traffic jam. The sprinter's talent is wasted, and they only add to the confusion. This is especially critical for an older body. As we age, our digestive transit time can naturally slow down. Our production of digestive enzymes might lessen. Our system thrives on efficiency. Creating this internal traffic jam is deeply inefficient and creates unnecessary stress. It forces the body to deal with two completely different digestive timelines simultaneously, which can lead to that feeling of indigestion, of food just sitting there, of heartburn and discomfort. The simple, profound benefits of the blueberry, its antioxidants, its anti-inflammatory properties, are not only lost, but they are corrupted into a source of fermentation and distress. By simply separating these foods in time, by eating the light and swift fruits on their own, perhaps as a morning snack, and saving the heavy, slow foods for a separate meal, we honor the nature of both. We allow the swift messenger to deliver its note, and we allow the body to focus fully on the epic tale when it needs to. This understanding is the final, most powerful insight, because it is not about good or bad foods. It is about the wisdom of orchestration. It is about becoming the wise conductor of our own inner symphony, ensuring every instrument is played at the right time, creating not noise and conflict, but a beautiful and harmonious melody of health. This principle of orchestration is the true wisdom that was promised at the beginning. The list of 3 foods was not the destination, it was the vehicle to carry us to this deeper understanding. The real teaching is not to live in fear of blueberries or any other food. It is to cultivate a profound and intimate awareness of your own unique body. The combinations I have mentioned, cold dampness, sweet deception, and the earthly burden, are simply common examples of disharmony. They are signposts pointing toward a universal principle. Your body is constantly speaking to you. The bloating, the fogginess, the energy crashes, the indigestion. These are not random malfunctions. These are messages. These are your body's way of saying, this combination does not create harmony for me. The true skill is to move beyond any external list and learn to read the language of your own inner landscape. How do you feel after you eat? Not just 1 hour later, but 4 hours later, the next morning. Do you feel light, clear, and energized? Or do you feel heavy, foggy, and lethargic? This is your truth. This is the only guide you will ever need. One person may be able to digest a certain combination with ease, while for another, it creates great distress. There are no universal commandments written in stone, only personal truths discovered through mindful attention. This journey of listening is the ultimate act of self-respect. It is taking responsibility for your own well-being in the most direct way possible. It is a quiet, daily practice of self-mastery. The goal is to become so attuned to your body's signals that you no longer need external rules. You will simply know. You will feel which foods call to you, which combinations will create vitality, and which will create a burden. You will become your own master, your own healer. This is a journey that begins with a simple blueberry, but ends with the deepest knowing of the self. It transforms the act of eating from a mundane necessity into a profound spiritual practice. Every meal becomes an opportunity to listen, to learn, and to align yourself more perfectly with the flow of nature and your own inner wisdom. Do not simply follow my words, use them as a starting point. Experiment with your own awareness. Notice the subtleties. Feel the difference between harmony and disharmony within you. This is where true lasting health is found. It is not in a list of forbidden foods, but in the quiet, consistent, and compassionate act of listening to the life force that animates you. This is the path of wisdom, and it is available to you in every single moment, with every single bite. This was not about blueberries. I came here for a list, but I am leaving with a philosophy. The concept of the earthly burden and the food waiting in your system creating problems was a light bulb moment. For years, I've had that exact feeling of discomfort after certain meals and blamed my age. The idea that it's not the food but the combination and the timing is a complete shift in perspective. I'm going to try eating fruit alone in the morning and see how I feel. Thank you for teaching us to listen to our bodies instead of just following rules. This is true wisdom.